Last night I asked you a very simple question. I said, "What are you doing? What is your goal? What is your role? What is your position? What is your strategy and how you're going to help change the world? What are you doing?" And I sound kind of highfalutin in a way. It sounded a bit, but it's a great question. What are you doing? And what we're going to devote ourselves to today as I speak with you is the education of the issues. You cannot do anything. You will be of no help to anybody. You cannot help any particular cause or group of people if you simply do not understand the issues. If you don't understand the issues, if you don't understand what's happening, if you're not able to understand not only what's happening, but how people think and what the usual tricks are that are being used, you're not going to be of any use to anybody. And I cannot say that any more to you than what I've just said. Okay? That simple, that critical, that obvious. And you're going to have to also do a couple of rules or follow a couple of rules. We are looking at a number of issues today. Number one, what is happening on the border? What is happening with President Trump? What is happening in the elections? What is happening with, believe it or not, it's still out there, the Fannie Willis case. And a lot of people, I think, are kind of at the end of their rope. They're really not able to really analyze this well enough. And they're kind of recycling and rehashing a lot of the same issues over and over again. But that's for a different story. Also, I want to bring up to you two particular issues. Number one, and why they're important. First of all, is Ukraine and the war and NATO and what's happening and why Victoria Nuland's ouster, it's an ouster, is critical. And number two, the number one issue, what is happening right now regarding Israel. If you are not aware of what's happening, if you cannot see this, you are missing one of the most incredibly important and critical stories that you can possibly imagine. This is shape shifting because as I speak to you right now, they call it the Biden administration. We'll call it the Democratic or the radical left or whatever you want to call it, because Biden is not going to run. He is not going to be able to run. You know it and I know it. And they adhere to this. They adhere to this model that somehow Joe is at the White House upset and angry over the fact that he's not getting okay. He's not going to run. He can't run. You know it. I know it. We all know it. It's obvious. But what they're doing right now is they're very serious about something, because independent third-party MAGA candidates, others are really scaring them. Not only that, they do not have this stranglehold on the Democratic Party that they used to have. You see, there were groups of people in the old days, some of the great politicians who understood how it was done. Lyndon Johnson, Bill Clinton. These are people who actually knew how this was working. They knew how it worked. They knew how precincts and swing states and what you had to say and how you had to triangulate. Today, the Democratic Party, basically, the Democratic Party that has been basically taken over by this radical left shadow government, they right now think nothing about strategy. They think that, well, we own the media, we own social media, we own all the platforms, we own Hollywood, we own everybody. We really don't have to work because we'll either steal the election legally, we'll do whatever we want. They have run roughshod. Let me explain this to you. They have not been stopped one time. Look at yesterday's victory. The Supreme Court yesterday theoretically gives Texas the ability to enforce its own borders. That's reversed immediately. They don't miss a trick, but their backs are against the wall and they're scared, really, really scared. And the number one thing that you can do, my dear friend, the number one thing that you can do is to understand the issues, but more importantly, how to think about the issues. And that's what we're going to devote ourselves to this morning on this, the 20th day of March during the Common Era. And we are right now ready to go and ready to talk about a variety of things. Remember, right now, it is 230 days until the election. 230 days. That is an eye blink. But before we begin, please let me remind you to subscribe to the channel, hit that little bell so you're notified of live streams and new videos, like the videos. But most importantly, before we begin, listen first to our great great sponsor. Well, it's time yet again to hail and salute our great friends at mypillow.com. And if you use promo code Lionel, you get a free gift. No purchase necessary. I know, a free gift. Gifts are free. Okay, it's a tautology, so sue me. But listen to me and listen carefully. What are we talking about here? Down comforters, flannel sheets, Giza Dream bed sheets, My Pillow 2.0 body pillows, waffle blankets, couch and recliner pillows, sheets, slippers, percales. I'm not even done yet. Towels, quilts, bedspreads, mattresses, mattress covers, mattress toppers, linens, kitchen towels, bathrobes, pet blankets, bolster pillows, name it. Items to help you luxuriate and relax. And their monster sellers, slippers, my slippers, slip-ons, moccasins. Think about it. What do they do at My Pillow? What's their main goal? To make things real soft, plush, real comfy, or comfy as I say it. How perfect. So here's the link right now. Go to mypillow.com/Lionel. mypillow.com, promo code Lionel or /Lionel, or call 800-645-4965. 800-645-4965. And watch how fast our good friend Mike Lindell answers the phone. mypillow.com, promo code Lionel, simply and absolutely the best. Let me tell you what I was doing this morning and what I spent my time today doing very, very early, very, very early. We were up very, very early. As I speak with you, Mrs. L is on her way to Albany, New York, the capital, meeting with a number of concerned individuals and citizens and groups to fight for legislation to protect children online, in the cold, in the dark, on a bus in Albany, putting herself forward, not just sitting back, not just tweeting, but actually doing something. And as we are talking and discussing, that is her particular vector, that is her chosen passion. And she's doing more than, I would say, 99.99% of all Americans do. Actually, boots on the ground, so to speak. And what I do at 10:40 today, I'm going to be speaking to a dear friend of mine named Mark Simone. Mark Simone is on WOR radio. I used to work with WOR and WABC, and it's the one of the three-lettered legacies: WLS, WOR, KGO years ago. I don't know if that's gone, but these were the three. These were the early licensees when you only had three letters, when you didn't need four, when the permutations weren't required. And today I'm going to be talking to him and his audience. Now, I'm not going to talk to him the way I speak to you because they would not like that. They are a group of people who are very, very good, but they are, I think, for the most part, conservatives, and they don't want to hear what I have to say. That's why I don't say what I say to you. I don't go on to say this, but let me explain something to you. The issue that is the most critical right now that is happening is Israel, Netanyahu, and what is happening with Schumer, Pelosi, the Democratic Party, and Blinken, and what is happening. This is so interesting. I don't even know where to start, but let me start at the beginning. Number one, there has been the firewall, a blood-brain barrier, the absolute impenetrable, what we would call it, the Israeli lobby, the Israeli control, not Jewish lobby, Israel. It is, and what I'm about to tell you is the absolute fact. I'm not motivated by anger. I'm not motivated by anything other than the truth. And I want you to understand this. And this is critical. This will work perfectly into what we're saying. This is a reality. As you know, there are lobbies in this group. There are lobbies in this country. There are lobbies. First and foremost, you have to understand there's, of course, the Israel lobby. There's a defense lobby. There's the climate change group. There are the trans group. There's the woke group. There is a lobby that if you were to come out in favor of Trump, the TDS lobby. And when I mean lobbies, I mean groups of people, but in some respects, actual lobbies, lobbying group with money and absolutely legal. whether it's the defense lobby, whether it's environmental. That's it. We don't have a lobby. We don't have one. You would think we would. We don't. The most we have are things like Fox. When I say we, I'm going to include myself, you and me together. Fox News, Newsmax. That's it. Maybe Epic Times, maybe Breitbart, maybe. I mean, you can point to different people. Tucker, media. That's the lobby. We don't have a lobby. The NRA is non-existent. The border law enforcement, non-existent. We don't have Hollywood. We don't have social media. Thank God for Elon Musk. And Elon Musk, I don't care. I don't care if he's 10% as effective as we think he is. I'll take that 10% over what we had before, which was non-existent. You must understand how this thing works. And up till now, and I've been doing, and I started in talk radio really before in the mid 80s, but actually officially hit the airways in a paid gig in 1988. But prior to that, remembered that if you were in conservative talk radio, which was developed by Rush Limbaugh, initially by people like Bob Grant, Joe Pine, and others kind of did this, but the person who put it on the map was, of course, Rush Limbaugh. And what is important is that you never, ever, 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 ever said anything that was not 100% in lockstep with Israel. Whatever Israel did, if you wanted to be on conservative radio, that's what you did. And most people absolutely said, fine. It wasn't because they were Jewish. It wasn't because they were into eschatology. A brief word on that. As you know, Christians are Christian Zionists. There are Christians who believe that the end of the world, tribulation and the apocalypse and everything will occur with the second coming of Christ in this area. The quicker that happens, the quicker that the world is destroyed via nuclear conflagration or whatever, the quicker the Messiah will be here. So a lot of folks who seemingly appeared to be in favor of kind of Israel, and it was sort of that way. There were other groups too who were theoretically Zionists who said, hey, go to Israel, basically get out. Now that was a nice way. Let me put it to you this way. By analogy, if there was a way, remember when Marcus Garvey, there was this idea of the Exodus. There was a group of Black Americans who believed using the Bible and using the Jewish method of Exodus as a means of leaving the United States and reassembling in either Africa or Liberia, whatever the particular manifestation was. If that happened today, I promise you, you would have people who used to be called racist will be coming forward and say, that's a great idea. Go. I mean, yes, right? See how that works? Seems like you were pro-African American or Black. Actually, you want people out. That's the way that works. Some of them, not all of them. There were people who throughout history, as you know, had a really hard time with the notion of Judaism. They would intermingle and commingle and coexist Israel with Judaism. I can understand how you can make that association, obviously. Anti-Semitism was alive and well. Read the initial works of Martin Luther. Notions of blood libel. Now, granted, sometimes people will take things, and I think they're not the best examples of this. They will exaggerate, but there is something absolutely positively there. Pope John the 23rd, Roncalli, was absolutely adamant that he was going to remove the perfidy of the Jews provision from the Catholic Easter rite because it promoted this crazy. By the way, if you want to see how this works, look at Mel Gibson and his version of the how do I say this version of the resurrection and the like, because of, and this is important, because of watch Passion of the Christ. Absolutely important, absolutely critical, the way he did it. He basically blamed everything on Caiaphas. It was the Jews. The crucifixion of Christ, the passion of the Christ, was because of the Jews. Now Pontius Pilate. I mean, you've got to see this. This is Orthodox Catholic. Most people don't even know they exist. And there is a real. Remember when Mel Gibson was arrested or stopped? He referred to people. Said, "Where are you exactly? Where is your how do I say this? Where are you from? Remember that? Remember he referred to honey blank, whatever. Okay, fine. Make a long story short, it existed. So when you hear people talk about anti-Semitism, it exists. We're not even talking about Hitler. We're talking about this. So there is no doubt. Now, by the way, let me stop you right there. One of the things you have to remember, you have to understand, you have to grasp and really understand this if you want to get along, is you have to, as Scott Fitzgerald, handle two or more seemingly inconsistent thoughts or ideas in your head simultaneously without losing your mind. And that's absolutely the most important and critical thing you can imagine. Understand this. Israel, Judaism, Zionism, Catholicism, Christianity, Muslims, Islam, Palestine, Palestina, the Nakba, Zionism, Herzl, throw in. Some of these things are connected. Some of these things aren't. Some of these things. Understand this. If you want to get into this, you've got to know a little bit about history, but not too much. Because what they do is right now, they will sit around and they will argue. Oh my God. They will argue. Finkelstein, bless his heart, is a wonderful scholar. Wonderful. And they will talk about, oh my God. They will talk about everything but what's happening now. It's important to a point. It's critical to a point. It is to a point. I mean this. It's something that I cannot say enough to you, and it's a point. It's very, very critical. But we're missing the point that's happening right now. Now, you and I invite you. I invite all of you, wonderful people, to please spend your time enjoying all of the issues that you wanted, all of the stories, and all of the things. But I am telling you, and this is very, very important. I am telling you that you're going to miss the point if you get too bogged down in this. By the way, let me just stop again. There are some wonderful things I want you to see. I want you to watch Lex Friedman. He's terrific. Breaking Points with Crystal and Sagar. Crystal Ball is a very, she is absolutely a great, strong, pro-Palestinian. I don't know if she's, it's not anti-Israel. Same way sometimes we're anti-France. It's not really anti-France. It's the government. But anyway, she's exceedingly impassioned by virtue of this. Really, really, really impassioned. And that's very good. I watch The Hill to an extent, which is Morgan and whatever his name is. And they're very, very good. I love to see what people are saying. And I cannot say enough to you about Judge Napolitano, who are very, very good. Judge Napolitano, Colonel McGregor. Who else? Some other people who are very, very good. Mearsheimer is my absolute favorite. Jeffrey Sachs. And they tend to be all in the same, but it's the only time you get to hear this. If you hear Fox News, Mark Levin, good people, they are, they are to the issue what MSDNC is to Joe Biden. Whatever BB says, they are proponents of it. Not everybody on Fox, but some people. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with it. It's not against the law. You can certainly do that. But something's happening. And let me say something also. I care about what happens in the world, but I'm an American, and I worry about what's happening here first. And when I get done with that, when we get everything squared away here, then I'll tell other countries what they should do, and I'll do my best to stop genocide where it occurs and war. But I'm number one. This is nationalism. It's America first. Lindbergh notwithstanding, I'm very adamant about this. I care about this country. I care about us here. And I expect people to worry about their own countries and then worry about us second, unless we're doing something to violate their own particular freedoms, which we've been known to do on occasion. Okay. Now, what's happening, when I saw Chuck Schumer stand up the other day, right before Bibi was, I think he was about to speak, I think to maybe some members of the New York, of the American political system, I couldn't believe what I'm saying. Somebody gave the word. Somebody said Chuck Schumer, the highest ranking, highest positioned Jew in American politics today, majority leader. He is, and he's basically saying that Bibi and this particular rendition, this administration, has aligned itself with the right, and this has to stop. Holy Jesus, which it's not even a pun. It's oxymoronic, if anything. Did you catch that? Who gave the okay to Schumer? He didn't do that. Schumer didn't say, you know what, I'm breaking away with all of you folks. I think that this adherence to Bibi and this particular regime has got to stop. No. He got the green light. They're telling him, do this. Why? They're going to lose. They're scared out of their minds. Independents, undecideds, third party, MAGA, and now this. And the Democrats are furious. They don't know what's going on. Now listen to me carefully. You also had the other day Nancy Pelosi. And by the way, they will not say the G word. They will not say genocide. They will never say genocide. Never, ever, 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 ever. And I think it's the worst. I think it's the worst word possible because people cannot bring themselves to saying it. And if you can't say it, you can't think it. If you can't think it, nothing's going to be done. Okay? It's like the word Holocaust. Don't ever use that word. One time there was somebody referred to the Japanese, I think the internment, and they said, well, technically speaking, my ass, do not use that word. If you use that word, you're going to lose the audience. Like the word slavery. Be very careful with slavery. Slavery is going on in this country. Well, to an extent in this country, but so there are some words. And by the way, you want to argue it? Go ahead. See, a lot of people I know are obstinate and they say, that's the way it is. I don't care what you say. That's the way I think. Screw you. Okay. But you're going to miss it. Because if you don't persuade, if you're not a politician, you don't win. The word genocide, and if you look under the 1948, the Genocide Convention, basically the systematic targeting of an ethnic group, of a nation, of a people in whole or in part. That's what's going on here under that definition. Now, in our minds, we think genocide, I'm thinking of the Holocaust. I'm thinking about 6 million Jews and gypsies and Roma and homosexuals and Slavs and Poles. I'm thinking cattle cars and death camps, and that's what people go through. I don't think that now, but I should say that's what people say. So when you say genocide, they say, wait a minute, that can't be going on. And some people also believe that Israel is somehow immune, that you can't, that'd be like accusing Africa of slavery or something like that. Well, yeah, no. Black, African-American, Negroid, whatever you want to call black people cannot be involved in slavery because it is against their internal constitution. No, it's not. Yes, it is. Just like people think, well, Israel cannot be involved in genocide. You can't put the two together. That's why the word is hard. The word derails any conversation. And remember, You talk about Jews, you talk about Zionism, you talk about Israel, you talk about Western, you can talk about European. There are people who have had no connection whatsoever with the Eastern European Holocaust. So we get into this far too complicated. I'm trying to give you a background, but I want you to understand this. This is critical. Why? Because this is going to affect the election. And it's affecting the election now. And that's why Nancy Pelosi, did you listen? Nancy Pelosi is saying everything but. She's talking about people and starving and conditions. She's talking about genocide without saying it. They can't say the G word, but they're saying it. Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, they are scared out of their mind. That's the only reason they're saying anything. Imagine being wealthier than 97% of Americans and being petrified of losing an election, almost like their lives depend on it. Well, White Monkey, as your name is, it's not about money. It's about power. It's about power. There are people who are powerful. Henry Kissinger was one of the most powerful people who ever lived. He wasn't a billionaire. Money wasn't his, that's not his thing. That's not his thing. Trump's into wealth. By the way, Mark Cuban and others were right. People don't have $500 million in cash on them. They just don't, because that's stupid to have $500 million in cash. It doesn't make your money work for you. You don't do it. I mean, anyway. But this is not about power. This is about the future. It's about people who want. I want my world to live. Let me try this again. I want my ideology to live, to be consistent. I want my way of thinking. I believe in a world, put it this way, my world benefits lower level participants in it. My world does not necessarily concern itself with corporate America, big money, big ticket, stock markets, big money, no. That's not my focus. My focus is to strip that away. You can be insanely wealthy, insanely powerful, and I can give you more freedom, more control, more peace, more. But I'm not handing you anything. We're not a bunch of commies. We're not going to do redistribution of wealth. We're not going to do that stuff. Not going to rewrite history. No critical race theory. None of that stuff. No. But I am going to give you freedom from surveillance as much as possible. Freedom from privacy violations. I'm going to allow you, in my world, to enjoy something called parental primacy, parental autonomy. I want you to be able to enjoy yourselves. I want you to be immune. I want you to have a bulletproof vest against the horrible world of the corporate, well, against the Schwabs and the Klaus Schwabs and the World Economic Forum type and the Soros types. I want you to live in a world where you do not have people coming into your city like Soros and buying off prosecutors so that you can be the victim of crime and not have anybody go after them. White Monkey says, thankfully, there's a deep state to save us. The New York Times. Deep state, by the way, is a wrong term. Yeah, you're right, though. There is we have to get rid of these things. Let me give you an example. I'm glad you brought this up. There is a woman. Her name is Katie Halper. She has a show called, I think she and Aaron Mate do a show called Useful Idiots. I find myself agreeing with much of what they say regarding Israel. Not everything, but a lot of it. And I would probably venture to say that we are probably what am I trying to say? We are probably not seeing eye to eye on Trump, on other, maybe immigration. I don't know. So I'm not looking for people who are my identical political twin. I'm looking at somebody who I agree with. I was listening to I thought years ago Roger Waters from Pink Floyd. I thought sometimes his politics were infantile. Not now. They might be infantile. Put it this way: I have people that I disagree with. Both of us would vote for Trump, but for completely different reasons. I'm voting for Trump because he's chemotherapy. Trump is monumentally one of the he makes some of the most stupid, own goals, unforced errors of anyone. I'm very scared for his future. I'm very scared about his legal team. But I don't care. I'm voting for him 100%. I don't go crazy. I don't lose myself or soil myself whenever he comes out and does any one of his rallies like other people do. That's not it. I don't lose myself. He works for me. Let me see if I can explain that to you. I might really get a kick out of saying, wow, that's Jack Nicholson. I'm just giving an example. That's a movie star. Okay. He's talented. Wow. Yeah, that's Jack Nicholson. Okay. That's what they do. He doesn't really do anything for me. He doesn't work for me. He's sort of, But a politician is my servant. They work for me. I will never, ever act giddy over a politician. Never. I was at an event one time at Carrie Lake, who came in and they were just going crazy because they thought, oh, she was so gorgeous. And I'm thinking, is anybody listening to this bullshit? She's saying nothing. Mike Pompeo, same thing. But they were just, Mike Pompeo, he's famous. Wait a minute, what? What? I've really come to agree with and be a part of this group called let me rephrase it. I've really, really, really been a part of kind of reconnecting with Dick Morris. Dick Morris and I used to know each other, and I thought it was good. But I'm seeing now I see him when it comes to strategy, tactic. He is very, very important. And by the way, on April the 4th, I'm going to be at the Metropolitan Republican Club and at night with Dick Morris. It's Mrs. L is going to be there, Madeline Brame, an absolutely incredible young man by the name of Isaiah Vega. But I'm going to be there with Dick Morris, and we're going to be we're going to kill him. It's like $20 or something. We're not going to pay for any of this stuff, but it's an important event. Let me give you this link. A lot of people are going to come here. They're going to come, and I think it's important. And I think I want to win, so I go to him for this. It's like when you go to a doctor. You go to a hematologist. I hope not, but you don't need them. But you might go to a dermatologist here, an ophthalmologist here. You might, you might, do various things. You might, you know what I'm saying? You might do. And what's interesting to note is that I'm finding that there are people I agree with, and there are other people that we seemingly agree with, but I don't. There are people I know who I've got a friend of mine who has Trump hats, Trump this, Trump that. I have more Trump memorabilia. I'm not going to wear it because I'm not a baby. I know the issues, they don't. So that being said, the Democrats are scared out of their mind because there's a contingent that's being shut down and shut out and shut up, and they are absolutely furious with what's happening. Furious with what's happening regarding Israel. This is Bibi Netanyahu is in the fight for his life. He is a centrist compared to these others. You don't understand something. We don't have the Ukraine is done. Ukraine is through. Ukraine is finished. Just done. But here's the thing regarding that. And the best thing for Trump comes in and gets us out of there. We are tired of being first. They want us to be a first responder for Europe. Screw them. You got a problem with Russia? That's you're okay. Okay? You got that? It's just one of those things that Trump is spot on. NATO it's the worst thing possible. It's an anachronism. Kennan and others said this. Since the beginning of time, NATO is a mistake. Kissinger before his demise, Kissinger was absolutely on board with this. And by the way, I said to you, there are some good people to listen to. I really Max Blumenthal is terrific. Aaron Mate is absolutely without peer. But I also listen to other people as well. If you want to know what not to think, listen to Piers Morgan. Listen to Piers Morgan. Listening to Piers Morgan is like listening to saying, remember when you were when you were a kid, you might have had like your father or maybe even your grandfather would say, when I get up in the morning, I have 6 eggs, a rasher of bacon and butter, and I go, and that's a hearty breakfast. And you would think, no, that's not good. No, but then they didn't know any better then. That's what they did. Hey, we're going to go outside, and people who are tanning, remember the people who put those like Paulie from The Sopranos, those things to get a tan? No, because we know no more about, skin cancer, or old movies where they were smoking. You got a cigarette? We're going to send a pack of cigarettes to our boys. And no. That's Piers Morgan. He's an anachronism. And he puts people together, and he puts these two, it's the most ridiculous thing in the world, and it's embarrassing. Junk Yogurt and Shmuley Botia, 2 rodeo clowns. I really, absolutely, positively, years ago, Shmuley was kind of interesting. Now he's turned into a clown. I mean, just a clown, screaming and yelling, and it's I don't understand. And Junk Yogurt, I don't know. Nobody takes him seriously. Nobody. But I listen to them because I'm never going to understand how this thing works unless you watch it. If you really want to see somebody who completely collapsed, watch Bobby Kennedy Jr. That's the most incredible story in the world. This guy he fell apart like a cheap suit. He came apart. I don't know what he stands for. Did you see his miserable family? The Kennedys who went to the White House and stood before Biden and the rest, saying we're in support of you, because they're basically pissed off at him because they're in lockstep with the Democratic Party, and they're a vestige. The Kennedys are, it's like saying the name DuPont. Yeah, that might mean something, but I don't think most people connect. Same thing with them. Nobody cares about them. By the way, when the Kennedy Center, if the Kennedys, if that's not a just poster children for orthodontics, I don't know what is. Did you ever see the choppers on that? You put them, the Osmonds, and there was some great, just some wild. That's like, wow, the chopper. That is a very interesting group of people. Not exactly what you would call lookers, but in any event. So I listen to what they have to say to understand, okay, this is what I read. I listen to what Barbara Streisand says. I listen to what Alec Baldwin says. The saddest person of them all is Keith Olbermann, who doesn't know what he's doing. There's also somebody named Michael Rappaport. If you want to see something, if you want to see the most base Neanderthal and completely almost simian, bare base reviews of anything, look no further than Michael Rappaport, the actor who now all of a sudden he's trying his best to try to connect with Zionism. By the way, same thing with Bill Maher. Bill Maher is trying so hard to find himself, and so I listened to a little bit of him and say, okay, I got it. I understand the issues better when you see how people. It's like anything else. I think if you want to know how to cook, learn a little bit about Middle Eastern, learn some Italian. There are some things that you cannot beat, like a tagine. Nobody, that is the greatest cooking device ever. Know how to do that. Know a little bit about. Remember when cumin and coriander, you never even, growing up, I never heard of that. Then all of a sudden, hey, cumin, hey, cilantro tastes like soap. I love it. Certain trends. That's what this is. I want you to go out and understand what's happening. And what's critical right now is Joe Biden can pick up the phone and end the problem in Israel immediately by saying, no more money, no more nothing. flower riots. How about the pier? Do you hear about the pier they're going to set up? Remember that we had a bridge or something in this country that just fell down. Remember East Palestine? We can't do anything in our country. We have Pete Booty Giggity Giggity, who is he is so worthless. You know, when there's a word that we always say, that shit. Pardon my French. Egesta was important because it's the removal of waste. It's worth something, and you can use it again. You can use it fertilizer. You can do whatever it is, and you may laugh at it, but it means something and it's critical. And if you don't see it, somebody's going to die. So even fecal deposits have some kind of worth in the real world. Pete Booty Giggity Giggity does not. He is below. He is nothing. If you blow into a handkerchief, that was important. Mucus was important. Lubricates. It might be a sign of whatever it is, but it's not supercilious. You may not like it now, but it served a purpose. Booty Giggity Giggity never served a purpose. Never. He never served. He's good for nothing. Never was. Never did anything. Never helped. Never did wherever you stepped in, at least this was waste. This was a dog had to eliminate this. And you may make a bit of a smell and you got to get off your shoe, but it's not nothing. It's something. It's incredible. I mean, not Pete. He never went to East Palestine, never cared about this. These people are below. I have such contempt. Mayorkas, front row seat to the destruction. By the way, whatever happened to his quote impeachment? Nobody cares about that. Nobody cares. Do yourself a favor, my friend. Stand by for 1 second because let's talk about some interesting things. When you talk about those poor people, there are people who was it, World Health? Oh, I forget which organization. They say that we're looking at 1 million people are looking at starving right there in Gaza. Nancy Pelosi said this. Nancy Pelosi, 1 million. Food, water, and energy. The troika, the triad, the triumvirate. We live under the delusion that nothing could go wrong. Look, I'm not suggesting we're going to ever stop eating as we know it, but there could be great interruptions and hiccups in supply chains and the like, and that's why it's critical for you to make sure you are equipped in the event you need emergency food. So listen to our sponsor. Let's talk about a very serious subject, emergency food. That's right, emergency food. Now, I know at first blush it's difficult for most people to think about something that they just take for granted, ever reaching, emergency status. We're used to stores always being open, deliveries always made, no supply chain disasters, no ransomware catastrophes, shutting down gas stations, no trucking strikes, no war, no protests from farmers, no mysterious Chinese weather balloons, nothing catastrophic in terms of weather. Well, that can't happen to us, right? And I understand it's a defense mechanism that we have because the idea of ever not being able to eat or locate food is seemingly incomprehensible to most people. But think about this. It's not. That's why it's time for you to go to my site, preparewithlionel.com. Preparewithlionel.com has the deal of deals for you. Take it as a starter set, an introduction set. You've been putting off emergency food for too long. Some people still have a thing about prepping as though prepping for emergency is foolish. Now, right now, you can save $200 on a 3-month emergency supply kit. This is unbelievable. 22 varieties with a 25-year shelf life. 25 years, 2,000 calories a day in 6 rugged buckets, 120 pounds of food. Could you go 3 months, 90 days if stores closed? Be honest. Could you go a week without any trips to the store? I don't think so. I'm not talking about having stuff in your cabinet. I'm not talking about banana chips and jerky. I'm talking about food, real food. So go right now to preparewithlionel.com. This moment, right now, preparewithlionel.com. Preparewithlionel.com. Go now and thank me later. There's a story going on that nobody wants to talk about. Well, I shouldn't say that. They do, but they're missing the point. And that is, where is Kate? And what they are doing, the more they speak up, the more they talk about it, the more they try to explain away what's happening, the more they dig themselves into a a grave, so to speak. Today, there was some story about the man who happened to snapped the picture of Kate as she went to this little farm stand. Belies the fact that how Kate was allowed to even walk around without being swarmed by people is beyond the point. Now, the story behind that is simply this. It's not the story of Kate. We don't really care. I mean, I don't wish her any harm, but I don't really care about Kate. The issue is, look how they're lying to you. Now, there's a new move. Be on the lookout for people who are now starting to recognize geoengineering, which I've been talking about for so long. But now it breaks through. Now they're saying, you know what? I think maybe it's like, well, where have you been? Better late than never. For the first time in a long time, people are coming forward and they're saying that maybe there's something to this. Maybe there's something behind this. Maybe there's something to this. And understand something. In my world, I think in our world, I don't care about anything. There's no subject that is safe or that is off the hook or off the subject matter regarding discussion. None. There is no subject matter that we cannot talk about. It does not exist. And if I want to talk about it, I will talk about it. I will talk about it. And no matter what it is. And there are people who are going out of their way to do everything. By the way, people who were suggesting, I don't think this looks like Kate. They're saying you were a divisive, a vile internet conspiracy theory trolls. These words don't mean anything anymore. They're using this. I think I told you the other day, there was this piece where Candace Owens, and I don't wish her any harm. I'm just not a big fan, but she's absolutely right. She was in some debate with somebody who called her anti-Semitic because it just didn't make any sense. It was the wrong guy making the wrong claim. And what happens is when you use the word anti-Semitic to the point where nobody cares anymore, where it enjoys metal fatigue, when that becomes the case, then you hurt the case because there is something. But let me ask you something which is more important. I want you to say something. Do you believe there is misogyny in the world? Do you believe there are people who hate women? I don't mean hate women in terms of hating them, but I mean, for example, ladies, have you ever been denied something because you were a woman? Did you fail to get a promotion because you're a woman? Did a man get it? Did you get paid less? And some people will say, well, maybe there's a reason for it. But I'm asking a very, very simple question. Did you ever find yourself? Do you find that there are people who have feelings of ill will towards women? I've seen it. I think there's a hate of women. I think there is a misogyny. There are people who look at women and they're saying they can't be that tough. They can't be that good. They can't be that whatever it is. I don't really want them. I don't particularly care for them. When I want a doctor, when I want a general, when I want a pilot, when I want women. Sometimes men are better at things. I'm sorry, but I think the NBA is more interesting and better than the WNBA. That's the way it is. Then again, I think there are some gymnastics that only women can do. That when a woman does it, I'll say this, graceful, beautiful. If a man does it, it doesn't carry the same weight. I don't know why. That's the truth. That's what a lot of people feel. So here's the story. Do you believe there's racism in the world? Yeah. Do you believe there's racism? By the way, both ways. When you say racism, people always say it means against black people. No, people because of their race. Yes, of course. Of course there is. Is there hate is there a class hate? Yes. Is there a hate against, by the way, as you get older, I think you'll see this, and I've seen this since I was a kid. There is ageism. They don't like you if you're over a certain age. They look at you like you can't do it. When musicians spend their entire life learning how to play an instrument, and they get to be 50, 60, 70 years old, some music forms like them. Blues, for example, they love you if you're older. If you're John Lee Hooker, that's great. If you're Muddy Waters, that's terrific. If you're in some cases, they used to be in the era of Grand Ole Opry, Roy Acuff, Ernest Tubb, Ralph Stanley, you could be older. Blues, you can be older. But rock, they look at you kind of like you're crazy, unless you're Mark Knopfler, unless you're the Stones. So there's a degree of ageism. So here's my point. How do I stop that? I don't know. Can I stop that? I don't know. Can I stop racism? Not really. I can't stop it. What do we do to fix it? Well, you can't penalize it away. You can't legislate it away. That's an idea. Not liking, not respecting, not wanting black people to be a part of it. I don't know what you're supposed. I don't know what you're supposed to do with it. I don't know what you're supposed to say. I don't understand. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with it. Sparky joins us. Sparky says, isn't Kate sort of trolling the public to distract them from the economic woes and troubles in Ukraine and Gaza? The subject matter certainly does. I don't know if she's doing it, but yes, the subject matter. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Remember, and this is very, very important. Years ago, there was a study. I found this fascinating. Prestidigitation, sleight of hand and the like. They had these, they were trying to figure out how, how does this thing work? And I love this word. Look, I just prestidigitation. And it means, it's from, preste means, nimble finger. So nimble finger, digitation, nimble finger. What they did was, they did this very, very interesting. In fact, how many of you, dear friends, you don't have to raise your hands, but you might suffer from dyslexia in the right. Raul Rodriguez says, I'm 70 and I'm the brunt of ageism. Oh, yeah. I mean, that, because they look at you, and if you're, you're bald or you're gray, they think, whatever. And listen, I mean, I don't know what you're going to do. What are you going to do? Anyway. So what they did was, they found out, and this is important what Sparky said, they said, how is it that we can get better at this? And they said, we want to know about learning disabilities. People, those of you who might be dyslexic. I read one time that reading is the most unnatural thing that people do, because for you to look at a word and put it together in your head, it's interesting that most people do not. It's amazing that more people don't have learning problems and disability problems, or inverting letters or whatever it is. So what they did was, they said, the neurologists and the like said, how is it that this happened? So they enlisted the help of prestidigitators, sleight of hand aficionados, Ricky Jay and others, and said, what do you do? How is it that you can do something in front? And I'm always trying to distract you. I'm distracting or I'm hiding you, but I'm giving the illusion it's right in your face. And Sparky, that's what news does. They tell you something right to your face, and they give you the impression that, this is real. Why? Because I'm telling you. And there's a guy with a camera, there's a guy with a microphone, and this guy won an Emmy, and there he is, and whatever. No, but you're hiding something. Palming, using things like false thumbs. I love magic trick secrets. I love them. I love to say, how does David Blaine do this? I appreciate the trick more when I know what the trick is. I appreciate the trick more when I know what the trick is. If that makes any sense. I love to see, it's like, that was brilliant. And the answer is always simple. It's the simplest thing. It's not hard. But then there are people who do nimble things, and Ricky Jay sat in front of a mirror and just for hours fanning cards and doing this, and just incredible. But sleight of hand is different. So what we do is, in the world, take this analogy, and you will have people tell you that, number one, this is the truth. Number two, this is not the truth. Number three, if you think this, there's something wrong with you. So here is the truth. This is not the truth. and listen to me or you're wrong. And this is how we do things. This is how the news works. Don't go there. We also create a certain culture, a current, where we make people think and make you think that it's a sign of refined education and thinking for you to not be prone to, quote, conspiracy theories. By the way, this is the link, by the way, if you're interested in this. This is April the 4th, this event. This is going to be at the Metropolitan Republican Club, East 83rd Street. Place has been around forever. It's just an evening, April the 4th, 6:30 to 9, and that's it. And we're gonna knock them dead. And I love doing this. And like I said, I've so impressed with what I think Dick's on Newsmax. I don't know, and I want to get to the bottom of stuff. I want people to know what's going on. And I will tell you what's weird about this is I will tell you things because I have no affiliation to any particular party. I will insult everybody and support everybody. I have found people, by the way, so interesting. I have found, Mrs. Ellen, I have found that we have found kindred spirit in support for child legislation, child protection, and the like, from people that you would call leftist and people who don't like Trump or who don't. But when it comes to this particular area, we're on the same page, and I think great, absolutely great. Don't ever turn somebody away because they disagree with you about something else. Oh, and by the way, don't ever think somebody agrees with you because they happen to share the same idea. Like I said, I've got friends of mine who are Trump fans, but they're idiots. They're Trump fans because he's like their boyfriend or something. It's really weird. Very, very weird. Very, very, very strange. If you want to believe that, which is true. All right, dear friends. One more time. That's the link. Come on out. So I want you to be able to think about this. I want you to think about this. And by the way, we've had some wonderful discussions. I know one. I could mention some famous people you would certainly know. I don't want to do it now, but they have since they don't like what I have to say about Israel because I don't share their obstreperousness. I don't scream and yell and call people names, and I don't. So they in turn think that I'm lukewarm on the subject. Oh no, absolutely not. Because I don't do that. I've never done that. I don't scream and yell my position. Even when it comes to things about kids, even when it comes to things that are obvious. I'm very passionate right now about how this quiet on set speaks to the tragedy of what happens to kids in the entertainment business and how these sick bastards aren't even referencing it. But if you wear a pin that supports Palestine or Palestinians or Gaza, then Hollywood will have you drummed out of the core, but not if you actually hurt, harm, or destroy the lives and the souls of children in your charge. That's what I don't understand. But I'm not going to get upset over it. I'm just going to get it. I'm just going to fix it. And I'm going to expose it. And I find people listening to me a lot more if I don't scream and yell. I want you to be able to say, you know what? His logic swayed me, not his passion. Because somebody else may say it after me. They may not have the same passion. Are you going to reject what they're saying? You listen to the logic. You listen to the logic. You understand. You listen to what people say, why they say it, what they want you to do, how they want you to conform, and then make up your mind. All right? Okay. Well, let me tell you something. I love you immensely. I mean that sincerely. Raul Rodriguez, by the way, you're 70. God bless you. I appreciate that. Sparky, thank you. White Monkey, thank you as well. And we will continue on. I will have more videos today. Please make sure you subscribe. I can't say that enough. Subscribe. All right, dear friends. Thank you so much. Have a great and a glorious day. Wow. Sorry about that. This is like the most, you just touch this thing. It's like, whoa, it's gone. In any event, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, your friends. See you tonight at 7 p.m. But don't forget, until then, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Da, da.